Hello, my name is Basia Sali Hoffman, and I warmly welcome you to the program Fine Art. Today, I wanted to show you a beautiful place with a bloody history in the background, Legnica Field. It's here, on April 9th, 1241, that the famous Battle of Legnica took place between the Tatar invaders and European knights. Right here, behind my back, according to the tradition, the body of the fallen commander of the Christian side, Henry the Pious, was found. To honor this place, the construction of this church was commissioned, with the main altar precisely where the prince's remains were discovered. However, nowadays we know that it didn't happen exactly here. Yet, thanks to that mistake, we can now admire this beautiful architecture. The Church of the Exaltation of Holy Cross in St. Hedwig of Silesia was built according to the design of the Baroque architectural superstar, Kilian Ignaz Dientzenhofer. Here is an interesting fact. He had 15 children, and he named them after the patrons of the churches he was currently building. The church facade indeed embodies true Baroque characteristics, with a concave convex line, chiaroscuro effects, and a highly dynamic appearance. You might wonder how it can be dynamic if it stands still. Well, Baroque facades were often designed for gradual discovery, an approach from the side, revealing new perspectives and forms as the viewer goes closer. Take note of the rich portal with Atlants, human form supports. These figures were meant to represent Tatars and Mongols, the enemies in the Battle of Legnica. But in typical Baroque fashion in Central Europe, they eventually resemble Turks and Cossacks, symbols of menacing Eastern invaders of that era. Today, we could envision Vladimir Putin in their place, as a symbol of the enemy we would like to see defeated. Above on the cornice, there is a panoply, a composition of white weapons, armor, and banner, a clear reference to the Battle of Legnica. Meanwhile, slightly grown-up putti play with elements of weaponry. These putti somewhat resemble playful satyrs from Botticelli painting Mars and Venus, frockling amid the war god's equipment. Above, in the niche, we have Saint Hedwig of Silesia, the patron saint of church, and additionally the mother of the commander, Henry the Pious. High above, at the very top, the towers are crowned in a distinctive manner with princely mitres symbolizing Prince Henry the Pious. Let's step inside, for with true Baroque wonder await. The temple was intended to commemorate Battle of Legnica, vividly described in the Chronicles of Jan Długosz. The chronicler who we may not always trust, but this time let's make an exception. According to the chronicle, news of the dreadful invaders, their unprecedented cruelty and remarkable efficiency sent shivers down the spines of inhabitants of then divided Poland. The rapidly advancing army spread terror before even reaching the location. On April 9th, 1241, the European and Tatar forces faced each other for the impending battle. The invaders had numerical superiority over the Christian army and swiftly gained the upper hand in the battle itself. Henry fought valiantly, but when he raised his arm to strike an opponent, the enemy pierced his side with a spear. Wounded, he helplessly slid off his horse. After dragging Henry away from the battle, the Tatars beheaded him with a sword, leaving his naked and insignia-striped body on the battlefield. The enemies desecrated the body of the defeated prince. They impaled Henry's severed head on a spear and proceeded to the Legnica castle, demanding that in the face of the prince's death, the fortress be opened to them. After the enemy forces left the battlefield, efforts were made to search for the fallen prince's remains in order to give him a respectful burial. The chronicler recounts the challenge of identifying the headless body as belonging to Henry. Have you ever heard of polydactyly? It's a genetic anomaly characterized by an increased number of fingers or toes. Interestingly, our today's hero, Henry the Pious, had 6 toes on his left foot, which helped in identifying his body among the fallen knights. The moment of finding the prince's body is depicted in a monumental painting by Johann Franz de Backer, located in the main altar of the temple. In the central part of the dark-toned painting, the characters of 3 protagonists are highlighted in the bright color: the headless, bluish, partially disrobed remains of Henry the Pious, beside whom his grieving wife, Anna of Bohemia, wipes away tears of sorrow, and Saint Hedwig also stands over the body of her son. The frescoes were painted by the renowned Bavarian artist, Cosmas Damian Assam. Not only he did excel artistically, but he also completed the work at an impressively rapid pace. We have a preserved contract for the execution of the paintings dated July 5th, 1733, and by October 10th of the same year, the artist had already received payment for the completed work. Just 3 months. I look up in disbelief. How could this be accomplished so quickly and so splendidly? It would have taken me longer just to paint a ceiling white. On the vault of the main nave, the artist painted a monumental fresco depicting the discovery of the holy relic of the cross by Empress Helena. According to the legend, the mother of Emperor Constantine the Great, during her time in Jerusalem, found 3 crosses on a hill. On one of the beams, the Titulus Crucis proclaiming Jesus Nazareus Rex Judeorum, Jesus of Nazareth, the King of the Jews, was still preserved. To determine which of the remaining beams also came from the cross of Jesus, a kind of experiment was conducted. They collected all of them and applied pieces of the wood to a deceased woman. With the first fragment, the deceased was resurrected. Beautiful ladies in this setting represent faith, fides, hope, spes, and love, caritas, with wisdom, sapientia, behind them. We can identify them by their attributes. Faith holds a book and a chalice. At the feet of hope rests an anchor, and in her hands, love carries a flaming heart. Wisdom holds a book and an olive lamp, symbolizes the lights of reason. In the corners of the vault, representations of the 4 evangelists are found, each with the traditional attribute. Mark with the lion, Matthew with the angel, John with the eagle, and Luke with the ox. Interestingly, Saint Luke is often depicted as the painter at work, because according to tradition, he was the first to paint the Madonna and the Child. And now, the question: how to present oneself properly? What should an artist's self-portrait look like? It would be appropriate to present oneself in the best light, elegantly dressed, as a prosperous individual who has achieved success, probably also a bit more handsome than in reality, suitably idealized. But there is another way, as our distinguished Cosmas Damian assembled here. Modestly, in the corner, the artist portrayed himself as emerging from the grave, and so just we have no doubt who the deceased is, he placed his signature in that spot. That's what you call a healthy distance from oneself. I warmly invite you to the upcoming episodes.